Welcome. I don't think I have words to say how I feel today having you, Nesrine and Mauricio. Since I was here 22 years ago, I know you. You have been part of what Washington is, Washington life, Washington gastronomy, Washington, I don't know, everything that has to do with culture, because it's beyond gastronomy, it's culture that you represent. And being two people that are very different, you are Jordanian, Muslim Jordanian,
Yes.
you are Ecuadorian, Christian, Jewish, Ecuadorian, a mixture of everything, and yet this compliment that you have both of you, this compliment was I think it was what made you what you are, and how you put yourself in the place of the others. You understand different cultures, and then you make what you are doing happen. And what you're doing is just using senses, you know, gastronomy and music, and the feeling you have when I enter your restaurant, in the restaurant Secreto de Rosita, you feel that you are entering another world. It's all full of art, but every piece that you have there has a story. Every food that you serve is served with love from those that are serving it, because they feel happy working with your people. And this is a concept, I think. And this concept you did here, you are doing now in Ecuador. You are applying in Ecuador. So I want you to tell me that story, Nesrine and also Mauricio.
So actually here in Washington, D.C., Mauricio is what they've said about him, he's always ahead of the trend. So he's the designer of the concepts and the actual physical design of the restaurant and the food, everything, and everything has a story. This is what he told me. I was not in the restaurant business before. I used to be involved in government contracting. And eventually after I had the 3 children and they went to school, I decided to join working with my husband. And I enjoyed the social aspect of it. I enjoyed the food. I enjoy meeting new people. So for me, it was natural. And working with him, I learned so much. It's not just about the food and about the restaurant. It's really about creating a story, a concept. And the concept he has as Secreto was built on his childhood. It was an homage to his grandmother and grandfather. They raised him, so he wanted to pay tribute to it. And he created the Nuevo Andean cuisine here in Washington, D.C., and it was before anybody else was talking about it. And then you hear it in New York, and then you see it in other places. So really it was, it's been a great experience for me. I've learned so much from him. And I handle more of the business aspect, but definitely I gained a passion for it. And then I went to visit Ecuador and I fell in love with Ecuador.
I know that. I visited you a long time ago at your house there.
Yes.
And it's beautiful at the top of this mountain. It was all with the rustic furniture that was made in Ecuador, everything made in Ecuador. And this passion that you have, I know you took it from Mauricio, but you had it in you. I'm sure that there was a previous life, I always say, that connected you with the Andean region. Because everything is connected. I believe that even though we are in the East and West, we have so much of the same. You know, they say the Arabs were in Spain for almost 800 years. So they took a lot to Latin America, and especially in our region, with the Incas and all the things that we had before, and mixed with the Spaniards and the Arab culture. It's so similar when you talk about the mesa in Arabic, tapas in Spain.
Exactly.
It's the mesa, it's the variety of food that you share. And that's why I say always sharing is so important. You put things over the table together and you eat them together. It goes beyond the taste and the word and the feeling. It is magical, and it changes people. It makes peace. I always say you want to make peace, sit in a round table with food and wine, and then peace is done. Not accusing each other on the other side of the table. This is what happened. It has to be around something that unites us in its culture, music, arts, food. That's what makes the world move. But I want to hear the story from your side, Mauricio.
The story from my side.
Yes.
actually work for her.
You see, that's what I love.
That's exactly what I do.
Yes.
So what I do is talking about Nesrine. Nesrine is the one who every time I have a crazy idea, she's like, go for it. She has never said no to me. And I have so many crazy ideas and like, go for it. And same here. When she wants to do something, I'm like, just go for it. And we have succeeded many times and we have failed 1,000 times.
You have to fail to win. To succeed, you have to fail. Otherwise, you don't know what success is.
Exactly.
And we were talking about the restaurants. We really want to create an experience. And I always use the word, I compare it to Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah, you told me once that.
When you walk into our concepts,
Yeah.
everything is there. It's not just the food is part of it. You don't go to Secreto to one of our restaurants because the food is great. The food is good, it is great. You go there because the lighting is right, the music is right, the service is right, the decor is right. So it's a complete package. I was just talking to the manager yesterday, and what I like when we walk into Secreto or to Sucheria, I like to hear the people talk. Like a market, exactly. And the music is just a little background. Like what are you doing today with classical music? It's just something to fill up the empty spaces. But the fun part is to hear the clap, 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 clap. When you hear the bartender going, so you don't know what they're talking about, but you get excited because so much movement, so much energy. And before you were talking this, and really to create the army that we have, to create an army, really you gotta work on their souls. You really have to understand who they are. You really wanna be sure that they succeed. And something we always talk about is when they wake up, I don't want them to be talking about our business or thinking about our business. If they wake up and thinking about us, we're doing something wrong. I want to wake up and think about their hobbies, their goals, the university, whatever they like to do in the future. They can stay with us or go somewhere else, but we just, like we tell them, we're just a stepping stone for them. If they want to stay with us and grow with us, great. But if they have to go somewhere else, please go and become very successful.
And let us be a part of your success.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you tell your children.
Exactly. And we want to be a platform for them to launch their
It is,
dreams.
yeah, because every nowadays, what Khalid Gibran used to say, your children come to you but are not for you. They are for the world. But you prepare them with the values, the ethics, the things that you believe, and then they have to fly on this. That's why you have amazing children that love you. And I felt the love when they came to Ecuador and they were not going to be able to enter. And then when they did, Mauricio sent me this video when they arriving. And they have, yes, we arrived, we're in Ecuador. It was a pandemic with all the problems, but it was great to see that your two daughters were there and they were so happy to be there because they were going to see the concert that you were doing in Ecuador. So that's what I want to hear from you, what you're doing also, because you are part of the Ecuador project and it was one of those crazy ideas that he had, that you had, but always the crazy idea is the right idea, outside the box. Always think things that are not the typical things that everybody does and fails or doesn't fail, and they think that if they fail, they don't want to try again. So they think, oh, it didn't happen, so it's not good. They don't know that this is
more Ecuadorian.
Yes, I know. I know.
So actually, my dream as a child, I grew up in Greece. I lived there for 14 years.
Greece?
In Greece, in Rhodes. My father worked for the Voice of America.
Yes,
So-
tell me about Voice of America.
So my dream was always to have a hotel. I always wanted to live in a hotel. And it's because I always feel, I love to travel. I'm a gypsy. I like to experience different cultures, different people. My father used to tell us as a child, 1/4 of your education is school, 3/4 is the world. And so when I went to Ecuador, I fell in love with Ecuador, and I found it between the Middle East and the US, and it was a great compromise for what I wanted. And when Mauricio and I were talking, he wanted to open a restaurant, and I said, why don't we open a hotel and a restaurant? And so things started evolving, and then we found this property that's amazing, and it's 10 minutes outside of Quito. And so in Tumbaco. And so we purchased the property and we're in the process now of developing the concept and the business model for it. And really what we want to do is, Tumbaco is becoming populated with too much development and they're taking away all the green space, and it's such a beautiful suburb outside of Quito that's only 10 minutes and on the way from the airport. It's like in between, in the middle, and it has a lot to offer. And we found this property that has so much green on it that we decided not to change the footprint, but just to build and remodel the inside and create it into a boutique hotel. But this boutique hotel will not only just be a place to stay, it would integrate the tourists with activities in other like haciendas, and go to Cotopaxi, to Mindo. So we encourage the tourists to stay more than a pass-through Quito to Galapagos. And that will actually, just staying one more night impacts the economy.
Absolutely.
And also provide jobs. We want to promote women in the hospitality industry because it's a very male-dominant industry. And by making it into like a training school as well, where we take women that don't have access to universities and studying hospitality, they would learn through practice and give them an opportunity to have a managerial and executive position.
That's fantastic. It's exactly, you were saying about, I didn't know that part of you that you lived in Greece and they traveled all over the world, but I knew that your father was in Voice of America. But it's amazing that you're mentioning about hotels. I love to live in hotels too. I say always, my home is the plane, the boat, the yacht, or the hotel. Because it's where you meet people, and it's about connecting, and it's about knowing other cultures and understanding. And when you own something just to have an apartment or here, and then you belong, you feel that you don't go somewhere else.
Yes.
When you are in hotels, you can travel and be there. So I live in a suitcase and it's very small, and the plane, and that was my life for 40 years. When my husband didn't want to leave Lebanon and they brought my children to the United States. But I was 1 week in each place, and I felt that this is where my home is. It's not in this place where I am at home. It's up there, and you feel that the ideas come to you when you're sitting next to somebody in the plane. My 5 best friends, I have 10, but 5 I met them on the plane, and they became my best friends. So it's about understanding other people, and then you start connecting, and the world becomes so small.
Exactly.
That you feel that no matter what happens, whether it's near or far away, that's not right, it connects with all of you. Look at the war now in Ukraine, it's affecting everyone. The pandemic that came in China, it's affecting everyone in the world. So we are interconnected. So why to just belong to one place? We belong to the world.
But you also, that's how you build tolerance and empathy.
Exactly,
And
and that's why.
key.
And that's another thing that you're building with women, that they have to be in the industry of tourism and empathy and bringing people to Ecuador and showing them. So they don't have to be educated in the school to learn that.
Exactly.
So they can be just receiving well, be trained to treat the tourism.
Actually, I think we're missing a lot because many years ago, there were a lot of technical schools.
Yeah.
And now,
we were talking about that yesterday.
and we're pushing, now the push is in the West to go to college, university, and unfortunately, we're missing the real life education that students are graduating without that. And you're finding students struggling, and we're not teaching them how life is.
Exactly.
And so I see that within my own kids. And like my son was saying one day to one of his teachers, he said, I really feel at home in the airport because since they were young, I wanted them to travel. And they went with me and worked on a refugee camp in Greece for 2 months. And for them, it was the best experience of their life.
That's true. So in other places when they feel that they belong to two worlds that are different, but they belong also to other places.
Yes.
When you are just in one place, you don't see except that. And you think that this is the world. And that's why you have to start putting yourself in places like now with technology. You can do that even without being there. My grandson, that's 5 years, he knows about the world because he connects and he's always with another language, listening to Korean, listening to this, listening to Russian, and then knowing the capitals. And he wants to see every capital because now technology is he doesn't know how to write, but he says, Siri, take me to London.
Yes.
Take me to Madrid, take me to Beirut. So, and they show him, so technology, it's teaching, and the new generation is being with a new chip inside. They don't want to belong just to one place. They want to be somewhere else that they don't know where, but it's the world. And this is very good. Some parents, they say no, because they get confused. If they speak more than one language of their children, they will mix them up. It's not true.
Yeah.
They're like sponges.
Exactly.
And they absorb everything. And we are living in a global world that has to be globalized, whether we want it or not, we are already there. So I'm glad that you are doing, because you are an example of what globalization is. And you are doing it in Ecuador now, but I'm sure that what you have done here is what is taking you back there, which is the roots of your husband, but it's also your roots, because as I said, the connection of ours.
Actually, my parents came to Ecuador, they loved it. And then my uncle came from Jordan to visit in Ecuador. All my friends from here come to Ecuador and visit. And so, yeah, and actually I'm going on the 10th to receive another friend on the 14th who owns her own company here, and I'm encouraging her. We're opening a real estate company in Ecuador.
Wow. This is amazing. So now I realize why you say that she is the one. You're right.
I'm a very lazy person, so I enjoy somebody to work for. I work for her.
You're a very secure person. You understand the power of women. Cherchez la femme. We always say, find a woman where she is. It opens. But the working together, men and women, is what makes a difference. The world would be a better place if we had more women and men working together. Look what's going on in the war now.
Actually,
there's
my husband
not one
said,
woman at the negotiation table between now Israel and Ukraine. All men.
In the project in Ecuador, everyone that's working on the project is a female. So it's a female architect, a female attorney, everyone, and I put the whole group together. Even the consulting firm is a Syrian lady who lives in Malaga with a Lebanese lady as her partner, and they did the concept note, they did. It's a small world.
When is going to start the project?
Right now, we are finishing the business model, and then we're going to present it for funding. Mm-hmm. We purchased the property, and then we're looking for funding from either IDB or IFC or whoever works on tourism. And once we get the funding,
I'm sure everybody would like to go and visit. You have a name for the boutique hotel?
Yes.
El secreto de Rosita.
En serio? I love it. Yeah. It has something very powerful, that name.
You were talking about hotels. Why you enjoy staying at hotels? Because the social aspect, the bar, the restaurants.
Yeah.
So what we're doing there, we're putting 2 restaurants, putting Susheria and Don Segundo. So it is to create a nice lounge, nice atmosphere. So when you stay at the hotel, you really have something going on there. Yeah. You become part of the
Don Segundo is your grandfather.
Don Segundo is my
the husband of Rosita, and I'm sure that you are remembering that kind of what you have. They had also.
So
they have a lot of love for each other.
So Rosita was a special woman. I remember when I went to meet her.
You met her?
Yes. Mauricio.
She was alive when you were?
When she was, yeah. So, and she was very Catholic, and Mauricio on the plane kept telling me, please, when you meet my grandmother, don't tell her you're Muslim. I was like, okay, don't worry. It was like, let her get to know you first, and that. So, as soon as we landed, 4 hours on the plane, he kept reminding me, please don't say you're Muslim. We arrived, within 10 minutes, he's like, abuelita, ella es musulmana. Because he couldn't handle the pressure of not telling her. And then she looked at me and she said, and she laughed and she said, are you the woman that knows how to clip a bird's wings? And I said, yes, I can clip them or cut them off. And she goes, so you are the woman for Mauricio.
What a woman, you see?
And religion was,
she said, religion was created by men. men build the walls and God breaks the walls.
I love that. You see, this is why she married a Jewish.
Exactly.
So you were telling not to say that in the mother, and she married.
It took us many years to convince. It took me many years to convince her. The first time I met her, remember this beautiful woman shows up with this tight black skirt with some eagle glasses, and I'm like, wow. And then when I met her, I told her, "You're gonna marry me."
From the first day. You see?
And
And your family was against it. You told me.
Oh, yes.
The family was against getting married to the Ecuadorian
was tough.
Catholic Jewish.
Yeah, it was tough, but
No, this is
eventually it worked out.
what the beauty of what it is, you know. This is the beauty of uniting cultures and then building something bigger than just what you are, but what you are doing for others. You are doing such an amazing, you're an example to others by what you're doing. Examples in all the positive way, you know. And you said it's not about just being successful. You have to fail to succeed and try and continue. So the message I want you to give to everyone and to the new generation also.
I want to say
What
something.
is success? Okay.
I want to say something about Nesrine before. Her job, she's always helping people.
Yeah, I feel that.
Always helping people.
I feel, and always smiling and always putting the light on the other. I felt that.
And like in our company, her mission now is to help people to buy a home. And there are many people in our company that purchase a home through her. So we have young people, they're 24, 25, 26, they have 4 or 5 bedroom homes in Washington, D.C.
Really?
And that's her, 100% her job. They're doing
I
it.
think empowering people
Empowering.
is key, because you're not by yourself in this world, and I think at the end of the day, you're not remembered by how many things you own or what you've done. It's the impact you've had on others. And I think I always ask my kids, and I said, what is the most important characteristic in a human? And everybody will say empathy and kindness, and I said, no, generosity. I said generosity, generosity encompasses all the values, because in order for you to be generous, you don't have to be rich. You have to be generous with time, with your feelings, with feeling empathy and being able to do something for someone else or
listen.
Exactly.
By listening. What people mostly want is to be listened.
I agree.
And you know, I feel now with our family, I don't have time. Even my children, they miss my listening to them, because they used to call me 10 times a day. It doesn't mean that they don't call me now, but instead of 10, maybe 4. But it's because they want to be listened. Everyone wants to be listened. And this is the generosity of your time. Time is the most important thing that you have, and you have to try to manage it. But generosity, as you said, it's not just about money. It's about everything. Love, friendship, time that you have to give.
Exactly.
And I don't think that you have to, for example, tell your children, do this or do that. They have to try, they have to pass through. But just give them examples.
Mhm.
And by example,
They have to
will.
do it because they feel it.
They
Because
feel it.
you don't
can
order
order
something.
that.
You don't order that.
And they will not do it if you tell them, because it's always. So that's why wisdom. What is wisdom for you? What does it? You're amazing. So the definition of wisdom, what would it be for you?
Definition of wisdom for me is I'm not really sure about wisdom, because I never think of myself in that aspect, but I think wisdom is how you view the world and its relationship within you and your children. So for me, it's really how I can pass that on to my children. And that's key, because I can only have an impact on how they conduct themselves in this world is directly on my own children. I don't have that with others, because obviously it's too intrusive, but I think with my children, I want to pass on the wisdom of connectivity.
So that's a wisdom. Everyone has a kind of wisdom. Connectivity is what creates this virtuous circle that connects and goes on forever. And that's generosity. You are giving it, because all that's not given is lost. You cannot take anything with you. So if this wisdom that you have, you don't connect it with some way, you connect it with your children. It's something that you have it and you don't even know because it's about experience. The experience you've had, it cannot be given, but it can be shared.
Actually, I had a professor in the university that asked us to write our tombstone, which I thought was one of the greatest assignments I had. And what I wrote on my tombstone is basically, it was longer, it was more like a poem, but the essence of it was that I have zero regrets. Every experience is who I am today. So I have zero regrets. Whether it was good or bad, it doesn't matter. It made me who I am today.
Absolutely. Exactly. That's wisdom. Is what remains when you have done and forgotten everything. And what remains about that, that's the wisdom. It's the experience. Because we always say, and I'm sure that you feel that you don't enjoy the end. You enjoy the
journey.
travel and the journey. What you've been doing, at the end it's done and then you go to something else. So the journey. So what are you going next now? You made this. Now it's happening. What's the next idea? That's crazy. From Nesrine or from you, what's the next?
We're talking about wisdom.
Yeah.
Wisdom. Para mí, realmente, have somebody better than me all the time next to me. Hire somebody better than me. Marry somebody better than me. That's why I say as a joke, I say I'm a lazy person, because I always have better people than me around me doing their work.
Yeah.
So that's all mínimo conocimiento. But what we're doing now, really we would like to duplicate Secreto Rosita. We wanna really get into the farming. We would like to start producing our own products.
In Ecuador?
In Ecuador, yes.
That's the best thing, because it's a fertile land that no other country has a fertile land like Ecuador. The best in the world, and the best products in the world. So you want to do the farm, everything to be there.
Yes.
And you have the land also, because it's a lot of land next one.
Yes.
That's our next project. Next week we're gonna go looking.
That's
We're looking for a piece of land.
You see, this is, I can't believe we're having this.
One of
great
the things that I
conversation.
really want to do in Ecuador with the hotel is I want to use it also to promote. What I noticed is that there's so much to be offered in Quito. And when I talk to friends here, some people even ask me, oh, Galapagos is part of Ecuador? Because Galapagos is treated as the main focus of tourism in Ecuador, and therefore Quito is treated as the stopover. Whereas there's so much more to offer. There's Ruta del Sol, there's Loja. Loja is, I just learned about it, and I haven't been. And it's culture, it's art, it's music.
Everything.
And so Cuenca.
Cuenca, we just were talking about with people from Cuenca that were just here, and it's just amazing.
I always take my friends to a place called Tierra del Volcán in Cotopaxi.
Yeah.
It's a hacienda that's right by Cotopaxi. They grow their own potatoes, and the food is great. And the experiences, you can go zip lining, go horseback riding, and have the most incredible views. For me, it just brings peace when you look at the nature in
That's
Ecuador.
the word that you know, the word that makes what Ecuador is peace. And because we are the center of the universe, it's something that radiates to the world. The sun is there all the time. So it's a peaceful country from excellence. And that's why so many people are retiring in Loja, in Cuenca, in next to the Cotopaxi, the areas that they have the volcanoes. They just choose whatever, or the ocean part, or the Pacific, or the Galapagos, but they are retiring because they see that they have all year through a natural air-conditioned weather, which is beautiful, but also the people are very peaceful. So peace is something that we don't understand as a concept, that it's not just non-violence, it's being accepted as you are and living in peace with yourself. That's a real peace. They are spoiling Ecuador now with other things that are happening, like what's going on with narco trafficking. That's why the president now, President Lasso, is working very hard on stopping this disease that I call it, that it's narco trafficking. The only way to do it is by generating jobs, what you are doing in Ecuador. And thank you so much for what you're doing, really. I can stay with you for hours, but we have to end. Telling you that you are an amazing, amazing inspiration for all of us. And I will thank you in the name of all Ecuadorians, and here also and in the world, for what you're doing. Thank you so much, Nesrine and Mauricio.
Thank you.